Welcome back to Logistics Lowdown after our summer break. I'm here today with Ashley Hillman, our VP of Product at UPS Capital. Ashley, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. This podcast has been hyped up, so I'm excited.
You've been listening to me talk about it a lot.
I have, yeah. I'm your number one fan.
I appreciate that. I'm glad that we have one.
Yeah, at least.
So today we're going to talk about the consumer checkout cart experience, the trust, the transparency that consumers can find within that consumer checkout cart with e-commerce customers. And I have a couple questions that I want to ask you about that experience today. Think you're ready for the challenge?
Sure, let's do it.
All right, thanks. So to start, can you give me a quick overview of what consumer elected shipper insurance or protection looks like? What does it mean and why does it matter in today's landscape?
Sure. I think we all know what it is. We've all probably encountered it in some way, shape, or form. It's really, while you're in any type of merchant checkout cart, if you have the ability to elect for insurance as you're going to check out, that's what it is. You're just getting that extra peace of mind as the consumer, being able to purchase it and know that if something goes wrong, that you'll be covered.
That's a pretty great explanation. Okay, so why does that matter?
Great question. I think in today's day and age, there's two kind of mega reasons why it matters. One is that I think the risk is rising. We've heard about porch piracy. I think we've all probably at some point in time been a victim of it, and that's just continuing to grow. So having that risk there is kind of what's causing this option to now be in the cart. And then I think the other reason that it matters, or why it's important, at least to consumers, is that we want options and we want control. And this is kind of one way to get that as a consumer. Is you want peace of mind. You want to know that you're willing to pay for potentially that extra premium service. And you want to know that if something goes wrong, that it's going to be super easy for you to get it handled because you don't have time to deal with a lot of back and forth.
Why do you think that demand has kind of changed over the course of the last few years? It didn't seem like people wanted to pay for anything extra in their carts just a couple of years ago. Maybe that's the Amazon experience that we've all seen. But why do consumers themselves want to pay for this now?
I think because the expectation is there. They've seen it before. And it's kind of like in the product world, one company does it in like a start, they did it fast, and now everybody else is doing it. And I think that kind of happened with insurance and checkout protection too. It started as an offering potentially in like the boutique retailers, but now it's prevalent. And me as a consumer, if I'm in a checkout cart and I don't see that, you kind of question, well, what's going to happen if I do have a claim or something does go wrong.
And that's something you probably look for when you're in your own consumer experiences. If I see this, or am I looking for terms and conditions that say the merchant themselves is not going to take care of me if I don't purchase this, or if they don't have it available, you're a little worried that you're not going to get your money back.
It depends. If I'm buying diapers from Costco, probably I don't care about that. Sure. But if I'm buying like some type of jewelry or something that's like high sentiment or important to me, and it's not there and it's not an available option, then I'm questioning, should it be?
Yeah. So through a recent survey that we ran, we found that 64% of consumers saw the consumer protection at checkout as critical towards the experience. You just said that that's something that you look for. What does this really tell you about the consumer expectations?
I think it tells me that they're aware of the risks and they might be experiencing some of that pain. And I think it tells me that they're experiencing more checkout protection in other carts and wanting those options available to them, regardless of what retailer they're shopping with.
And it seems like a lot of the feedback that we get is they want clear explanations of what's covered and that option, that customized experience, rather than it being just maybe included in their checkout cart or in the payment where the merchant doesn't give them the option to opt in or opt out.
Yeah.
Is that what we're seeing as well?
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Just having it there is one thing, but how you put it there, I think, is really important too. And some of the stats that I've seen around how you display it, transparency and trust, and making it so it's not like a sneaky opt-out type, but more of an opt-in, especially when you have maybe a wide variety of different types of SKUs that you're offering through your store. It's not up to you as a retailer to determine what's important to the consumer. The consumer is really the one who's deciding what's important for them. You don't know if they're purchasing something for an event, if they're purchasing it for somebody else, what their economic standing is $200 a lot for them, is $50 a a lot for them. Let them decide what's important and make it clear for them that they have options for when it is something important that they're purchasing, so that they can make sure that it's protected.
So you got the transparency piece in there, so it's not those hidden fees that we've all found in our bill at some point, some invoice. That's always frustrating. But also giving them their why, their reason why they would want protection.
Yeah,
right?
and helping them understand what they have coverage for when they opt into it.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, because I think there's plenty of times that I purchase something online and you don't have that same feel that you get with walking into a storefront. You feel a level of trust when you get to look somebody eye to eye. But being able to know exactly what you're purchasing and what's going to happen when that day comes where you've already brought it up. We've all experienced porch piracy. We've all experienced a damage, a loss at some point. What's going to happen when that takes place?
Yep, exactly.
Right. Shipping protection isn't just a product. It's a signal of trust, right? So how does this offering and giving this option to consumers allow retailers to build stronger relationships with their end consumers?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. And I think it's an opportunity. I mean, you're picking another partner to showcase that you have a relationship with, and picking who that right partner is so that you're signaling trust to your consumers and your customers, I think is important. One of the things I think about, and maybe it's not directly related to consumer checkout cart, but when you buy like an extended warranty from a company, I did this with a car like a while back, and somebody got me on an advertisement and I purchased it, but it wasn't like part of the BMW brand. Mm-hmm. And then when I actually needed to use that warranty, like it wasn't there, and I was out all of that. And so not only was I out the money for the warranty, but I was also out the money for the repairs that I had to do. Yeah. So I think making sure that like as a retailer, you're partnering with a company that has established trust and credibility, so you can pass, like together you guys are stronger, and you're passing that off to your consumer, and your consumer knows that not only are you going to be there when something goes wrong, that that insurance and that protection is still going to be there too, because it's backed by a trusted company.
Yeah, because consumers are just getting smarter, right? They're not just doing the research on you and your products, but also the companies that you work with, your shipping providers, your insurance providers, whatever it may be. They want to know what type of service they're going to get from them, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's like you're putting this on your checkout cart. Your checkout cart is like a product. You're shipping a new feature on that cart that you're offering, like this really cool service now in your cart to your consumers. And so picking who you're doing that with and how you're building that partnership, I think is going to be important in how you communicate that to the consumer.
So how does choosing that provider and making sure that you have a trusted provider for insurance, maybe like an InsureShield, how does that help with conversion rates and trust within your customers?
I think InsureShield, being backed by a company like UPS and UPS Digital, you already have that trust there. They already have credibility of brand. You know that they're not going away. They're going to be there. That's a good example of a great partnership.
Awesome. Thank you. Not all products are created equal when it comes to shipping protection. Which categories are really driving the most interest, and why?
I think, today is kind of one thing, but I think tomorrow and where it's going is maybe another. Today, I think that we see the number one reason why somebody selects insurance is their overall basket value, and that threshold is somewhere around $200. Mm-hmm. Types of commodities that usually equate to somewhere around that amount are things like electronics, high-value goods. But I think, we kind of touched on this a little bit earlier. What's important to a consumer is changing, especially given like their economic standing, the state of the overall kind of macro environment, and the dollars that they're making. They want them, they're putting them towards things that are important to them. And the things that are important to them are the things that they want coverage and protection on. But really, I think protection in general is something it's reactive, and it's there. It's a tool that's available and an offering that's like commoditized today. But I think where the future of protection is going, and even in the checkout cart, is where companies are going to be able to bring together different capabilities to offer upstream more visibility, more control to consumers in the cart. So maybe using things like RFID to be able to proactively kind of predict when a package is going to miss a milestone, which would then trigger maybe a signal to somebody who's monitoring shipments to take a look at what's happening there and then intervene and go collect or retrieve or recover that package and get it back on its course so that the loss doesn't happen. So I think technology is going to enable us to get smarter and smarter about preventing that loss to happen. And then they're not necessarily going to need insurance. They're going to need the proactive like monitoring piece. So being able to bundle those like features together and offer that to the consumer so that when they have something that's important to them, they can select that, I think is going to increase the amount of commodities that get this type of protection and change really overall consumer behavior.
So really driving into that customization piece of what the consumer needs.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's that financial risk, but other times it's just trying to prevent that loss from the first place, which I think everybody would want to do if they could, right?
For sure.
Okay. We talked a little bit about the type of products and those that are higher value right now seem to be driving it. But is it true that even low value items or low value products can still need that protection, or consumers will at least see that they need protection on those items?
For sure. If I'm buying like 5 boxes of diapers for like probably $500 now at Costco, like, and they're all being shipped together, that's important to me. That's a big chunk of money, and maybe I'm going to elect for insurance or protection on that. But I think like the basket value is going to be a big driver, or continue to be a big driver moving forward.
And do you think consumers are looking at the type of risk within the product itself, not just the value? So
good point. Like if it's fragile, for sure.
Sentimental sometimes.
Or maybe having some type of like time sensitive element to it too. Yeah.
We do a lot of that. We do a lot of time sensitive things because I'm very slow to make purchases, but we need it soon.
I know how that goes.
So we talked a little bit about the customization and what consumers expect within the checkout cart experience. But can we talk a little bit about what their post-purchase experience is, or just how they expect this to work for them?
Yeah, I mean, insurance selection and the protection piece is like what they're buying in one part of the journey. But I think where it makes or breaks, like, is the purchase worth it, is the claims experience. On the consumer side, like what's important to them is it fast and is it effective? So are they getting an answer, and are they getting the answer that they want in the time that they want it, and as close to instant as possible is probably where the bar is set. Sure. But for merchants, I think there's value to here with a solution that not only is it like kind of offsetting a little bit of their, like they might not have to deal with the claims process and the burden of that, but maybe that doesn't even get to them. What we've seen with retailers is that in having this protection type offering in their cart and allowing customers to purchase that it typically reduces the like, where is my order support type of inquiries, somewhere around like 66%.
Yeah. And I know 70% of what merchants are dealing with as far as their consumers reaching back out to them are going to be problems with shipping protection, like was something lost, where is it in the journey? I know we also talked about that, like post-purchase updates. You talked about RFID before. Where is my package? Being able to follow that. Is that something that's helpful for a lot of merchants right now so consumers can go see it themselves?
Yeah, and I could probably talk about this for hours, but like being able to create, we have the time, being able to create these options for consumers in the cart beyond just protection, but being able to like have frequent transparent communication post-purchase is like a number one priority for consumers, but also giving them flexibility on like where they would want to pick something up, how they want it delivered, when they want it delivered, and like giving them those personalized kind of options and customization in a streamlined way is going to be super important. And today, I think there's a lot of like point solutions out there that are available for retailers, but it's a huge burden from a technology side on those retailers to like stitch together the fabric of that tech stack to make all these options seem and that experience seem super seamless to the end consumer. So companies that I think are going to win in the future are ones that are bringing those really cool niche capabilities together into one kind of seamless, customizable solution are going to win.
Yeah. So you can have that same tech stack doing multiple things for your consumers, customizing the experience, but it all looks like one branded journey.
Yeah, and like don't put the burden on the retailer to do 500 different API integrations to get these different capabilities and like spin up what they want their UX to look like. I mean, there are companies out there that can be experts in that space. Here's the options that your consumers want. Here's one API integration that you can do to put it in there. And then here's the outcomes that we're going to deliver.
Yeah, it's hard enough to create great products. It's hard enough to market those products. It's hard enough to get those sales. Now you're just adding extra onto the retailer unless they can have a trusted partner that does it for them.
Yep, exactly.
Awesome. How does this kind of protection extend the brand relationship beyond the initial sale?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think, we all think as consumers that your purchase journey ends after you click the button, but then also as consumers, we know that that's not true. One fun fact is that I think I read somewhere that the post-purchase notification or that order email gets opened 5 times more than any other email. And I think we can all attest to that we've been there, especially when it's important to you. So it's not just after you click that the purchase is done and the brand reputation and experience is over, it continues on. So again, going back to what we talked about at the beginning, making sure that you're picking the right partners to share that post-purchase experience, I think is going to be right, and that they deliver on the outcomes that they promise, paying the claim in the event that it happens. And I think checkout protection in general is a huge opportunity for merchants who are looking to create and establish and increase that brand loyalty, because you have somebody that you're partnering with to take care of those final mile, last mile moments, and protect that consumer in the event that something goes wrong. And that in general, I think insurance is an opportunity for customers or merchants to not only safeguard the relationships, but it's safeguarding the relationships through safeguarding the packages and those last mile moments.
That's wonderful. So Ashley, thank you so much for spending this time with us today. I think we got a lot out of it. It was very educational, but thank you so much for putting your own spin on it. For all you Lowdowners out there, we really appreciate all of the views and all of the fan mail that we've been getting. And we can't wait to see you next time on the Logistics Lowdown.